Well, I guess it was really just hanging out at the tattoo shop, Long Live Tattoo Collective. And there's this artist, Flip Shades. And we became friends over the internet over weed. We both like to smoke joints. And I messaged him and was like, hey man, I roll these really cool joints called hash. I was like, you want to smoke one of those? And he was like, yep, come over. And so it was like right when he first came to Denver, and I came over to his house, and we rolled this really big, like 5 gram, 2 gram hash hole. And then we smoked it. And then from then we were like best friends, hanging out every day. I would just come to the shop, hang out at the tattoo shop, and just watch everybody tattoo and ask a bunch of questions. And my whole life I was kind of really into tattoos. And since I was a child, my dream was to be a tattoo artist. And so I don't think I really asked like the normal questions. I kind of like showed more interest in everything. And I think Rick saw that. And so after like probably a year and a half of me hanging out at the shop like every day, every moment I could, he decided to ask me the question if I'd be an apprentice. And I was like, yeah, definitely. That shit would be sick. I feel like mine was not very traditional in a sense, as you hear everybody else talk about their horror stories of what they had to do and draw millions of flash sheets and like wear a tutu and stand on the side of the road. Like, I didn't have to do all that. I feel like mine was more mentally taxing in a sense, just dealing with my mentor. You know, he's a basket case sometimes, love him to death, but I kind of got blessed with more of a easy, less abusive apprenticeship than most people that you hear about. So that was kind of cool. I don't think it was that bad at all. And he taught me a lot really fast, so it was tight. Well, I feel like the first time I really got to experience a full shop, like where everybody was working while I was being an apprentice. I have to set up like 13 to 15 artists that day. Everybody has clients. There were so many people to talk to and set up and paperwork. And then also that same day was like the amount of energy that's in one building when there's 15 artists and 15 clients plus all the people that their clients brought, and if there's any friends that came with them and like everything. It's a lot of energy in one building. A lot of conversations happening, a lot of everything. And I feel like the first time that ever happened, I was like, whoa, this is like a whole new world. This shit is sick.
Was black work originally what you sought out to do, or how did that develop?
I didn't really have a goal. I'm kind of like, I like to be like a jack of all trades, master of almost all of them. I was just kind of approaching it with like arms wide open, you know, just kind of see whatever falls in my wheelhouse. I'm a kind of guy that like, I really don't like traditional tattoos that much. Like, I completely respect where they come from. I respect the history. I respect everything. It's just not my favorite, you know? So I knew off rip I didn't really want to just like be the person that does traditional forever. I get that you have to do traditional to learn the basics and learn saturation and line work and design and all of this stuff. And actually traditional's really fucking hard. Like, it's so simple, it's hard. It's really hard to make things simple but get the point across and look good. I was thinking in my head, like, you know, I really liked realism tattoos and like black and gray stuff and black and gray hyper realism and like all these things, but that's kind of hard and no one in our shop really did any of that. So I was like, all right, well, I have to see like what my mentor does is like really bold, vibrant, colorful, crazy color blends and insane designs, and it's just really in your face tattoos. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna definitely like, you know, go for what my mentor knows. So that's where I started approaching in the very early stages, just as much color and as bold as I can make it. And so from there, I feel like I learned the good basics of black saturation, bold lines, and color saturation, and color packing, and color blending, which kind of are all what I put together to do black work now. My favorite type of tattooing is like tribal tattooing. So like, I did love black work from the time I was a child. That's like why I have stretched ears and things like that, is from my love of looking at like the tribes and how they presented themselves and just like how they artistically did everything. I think it is the coolest thing ever. I would be way more modified and have like lip disc and those kind of things if I wasn't such a baby, honestly. That's really about it. I'm scared to do that shit. That shit's scary, dude. Have a huge fucking lip disc forever. Like, that seems like a lot of work. I feel like for each person that I've came into contact with, it's really their own story and their own journey. Like, it's not just to cover up tattoos. It's not just to look cool because like maybe black work is the fad right now. Each person has their own meaning. I've had some people that have came in and covered up like portraits of their dead grandma, grandpa, father, you know, and their reasoning is to not really like disgrace the dead or like, you know, like I'm over this or I hated this person or anything. It's just like a way to let go for that instance, you know. They've had this forever, they've dealt with it, they've missed that person, and now it's time to go into a new chapter in their life. And so for them, they just wanted a blank slate. Some people have self-harm scars and other things that they don't want to remember, you know, and that's an easy way to do it. Sometimes you get lucky in the way that you can approach the black work is kind of like a microblading to scar tissue. So you'll get lucky and scars on your arms will disappear over time. So again, for people that struggle with self-harm scars, it can like lessen the look of that and make it look like those don't appear anymore and weren't there. So it kind of could help out in a medical standpoint. I don't know if that's technically a medical standpoint, but
we'll put a disclaimer.
You know, it like sometimes does help for even scar tissue lessening and things like that. Other people, you know, you've heard horror stories where there was a really weird guy that did this tattoo. You know, he might have went out of pocket and did some crazy stuff whenever he was giving you the tattoo, and you don't want to remember that guy or that tattoo. Like every time you look at it, it makes you sick. So there's another reason people have got work blacked out, because of shitty tattooers. You know, you make an experience bad enough for someone, they don't want to wear that shit on their body anymore. Stop being a piece of shit tattoo artist. Like, I don't know.
How do you treat your clients?
As good as I possibly can. I try to make you feel at home, loved, happy, make you love yourself more. Like my whole entire goal is when you leave there, I want you to love yourself just a little bit more. I like helping people. I like giving people things. You know, it really, tattooing kind of like checks every box for my inner stuff that I need to help people. I really like it. So I just try to, you know, hang out with you, make you laugh. If you got to talk about some serious shit, if you want to get some shit off your chest, like I'm here to hear it for you, maybe give you advice if you want to hear it, watch movies with you. We can sit there and put on music and sing together. I'm here for all the laughs, all the smiles, all the tears if you need it, whatever. I'm just here to provide the best most comfortable experience I can.
What do you have to think about when doing a blackout tattoo that you don't when doing like regular tattoos?
You can't miss anything. There's like, I feel like there's a stigma that's like, oh, it's just black, it's easy, you can just sit there and saturate, like you can close your eyes and saturate and whatever. And it's like, to a sense, sure, if you're that good, you know, if you can achieve saturating black with your eyes closed. But I feel like there's a lot of tattooers out there that you could spend 8 hours trying to saturate black, and guess what, you can't. So it's a lot harder than people seem. When you look at a blackwork sleeve, again, it's like your whole entire arm. So if your whole entire arm has to look exactly the same, that means every single inch and every single pore has to be saturated exactly the same and perfectly. In a small tattoo, you know, if you don't saturate it just as in a little spot, you might not see it. It might be hidden behind all the other details and everything else going on. In a blackwork or a blackout sleeve, if there's any inconsistencies at all, they stick out like a sore thumb. Because again, what happens if you put a white dot on a black piece of paper? It sticks out like crazy. So it's the same thing for a blackout sleeve. It's gonna look like shit unless it's perfectly blended, perfectly saturated, and it's perfectly done evenly throughout the whole entire project. Your eyes have to be able to see that you 100% covered the area, because again, if you miss one little spot, it's gonna show.
Do you remember the first one you ever did?
Yeah, it was on my brother. I just redid it again yesterday. It was a good time. It was kind of scary. Well, I guess technically the first blackout I did fully completed was on my brother, but the first one I ever tried to do was on one of our clients, Sam. It was me and Rick's client together. We've been working on his whole entire body, and Sam originally came in to get work from him. One day Rick was like, hey man, do you care if my apprentice like just double teams it with me for a second and I can teach him how to saturate black? You know, since we're doing your whole body, it doesn't matter if he fucks it up, like I could just fix it. Sam was like, yeah man, I don't care. And I was like, oh sick. So, you know, I gloved up, set up, and then Rick started showing me, you know, how to do it, just the hand motions and everything. And he was like, yeah, man, just send it and see how far you get. Just work over here and we'll see what happens. That was the first time I did it, you know. I just went to town trying to get it, looking at how Rick was doing it, watching his hand movements, watching his hand speed, doing everything. And it just kind of clicked instantly too. He looked over when I was doing it for like 30 minutes or so, and he was like, damn, like that looks really good. Like, good job, man, you're doing it. And I was like, oh, sick. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. cool. And so then it was like every time Sam came in, you know, I would go over there and I would work on him little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit. And that's where I slowly started. And then after those few sessions of me just doing little chunks on him, I was like, looked at my brother and I was like, hey man, you gonna let me send it on you? And he was like, yeah, sure, fuck it. And so then that's when I then went to him and I tried to do his whole forearm first. And I actually like fucked it up really bad, and I was like, well, need to figure out how to do that different, because I can't do that the same way ever again. There's like no way in hell I'm even gonna try it the same way again. So that was the one and done of the way that was approached, was the only time that ever happened. So again, learn from your mistakes. If you see it's fucked up, don't do it again.
Are you drawing a lot, since what you do is kind of more abstract, or how do you practice?
In a sense, yeah. Like I try to think more and design like bodysuits now, or large scale work, instead of just like drawing other things, because I try to promote all of the time that I'd like to do other tattoos and things that I'm drawing and flash that I have, but it doesn't seem that that's what people would like to come to me for now at the time. I've kind of died off a little bit of trying to design other things and just kind of like, you know, stay in the lane of black work and blackouts, because it seems to do the best for me. So I feel like my drawing has kind of slacked back a little bit, and I do need to get back on top of it, but I just focus more on like what can I design for like a large scale black work project, instead of, hey man, I really want to tattoo like an Oni mask because those things are tight, so I'm gonna draw a few Oni. Like I don't really do that no more. It's more like, let me try to design like a whole entire bodysuit conception, or like try to find people that I can collab with to even like push the boundaries of tattooing and see what kind of new stuff we can create by mashing styles with like large scale black work, or and maybe like a hyper realistic artist, or even like a trad artist. Or I've started one with Landon that works with at our shop, and he does like the old style like wood etching, just line work tattoos. And so we've started a whole bodysuit with that, to where it's ginormous flowers and petals and different things that we're doing, and it's his style blended in with mine, and the contrast and everything just looks super sick. So it's like I focused on like drawing that type of thing, instead of, again, like maybe a flash tattoo for traditional.
What does art mean to you?
To me, it's expression. Honestly, I feel like art can be in any medium of any type of thing. It's just really how you want to express yourself and maybe get your feelings out through whatever media that may be. Like, I'm sure you've seen photography that's made you feel something, or you've seen a painting that's made you feel something. Shoot, you even went to a restaurant at a fancy diner, and the way that they served you your salad might have looked really cool and been amazing. And those are all everyone's way of expressing their self and their feelings and their love and their passion for what they do. So I feel like art really is just the way that you show what you love and get your point across. Just keep going, keep trying. It's really hard and it really sucks, and it's the same for everybody that just starts, you know? All you have to do is really dedicate yourself, try really hard, and just learn. And if something doesn't work, stop doing it. I've seen so much people, they're like, man, I keep doing it this way and it doesn't work. Probably because that way doesn't work. You have to find the right way that works. But the right way is there, you just have to find it. And a lot of things are really confusing, and you don't understand them until you do it and you understand it. And that's half a tattooing right there. I know everyone tells you, they're like, hey, what's it feel like when you have the right depth? And everyone that tattoos will look at you and be like, oh, you'll just feel it, you'll know. And so it's kind of that thing, man. If it's not working, just keep doing it, and eventually you'll get it, and then you'll know.